We're talking about domestic violence. It is a hard topic for anyone to talk about, and especially, well, we're with someone who knows that especially well. There's a local author whose new book takes a close look at the topic, Katelin Maloney. Your book is called Drowning. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
You have the copy here in your hands. And before we talk about the plot of the book, can you tell us why you wrote it?
Well, I want to give women a voice. That's my main goal, giving women a voice. I am a domestic violence survivor, and I want people to understand why women stay in a relationship as long as they shouldn't, but and I want to raise awareness, educate people, and I feel like that's what this book has accomplished.
It's basically proof of your learning experience.
Yes, and also I am a volunteer I was a volunteer at Resolve, Rochester, when they were Safe Journey, and also I'm a volunteer at Betty Griffin House in St. Augustine, Florida. Okay. And what we want to do, our goal is to raise awareness and educate.
Resolve, the organization that kind of looks and tackles or tries to tackle the problem of domestic violence in the suburbs, because we often think of this being something that happens not in my neighborhood, doesn't happen in my neighborhood, but I've been to the most well-manicured neighborhoods, and boy, there's a lot of bad stuff going on in some of those houses.
Yes, and this is actually a relationship between a woman and her husband, who is a doctor at Rochester General, which is totally fiction.
Interesting. So that's what this book is about then?
Yes. Yes, upscale domestic violence.
Here, turn that around. Let's show everyone
the cover is very compelling too. It's, and it shows a woman who's drowning.
Yeah, exactly. Very symbolic.
Can you share with us, I mean, is some of what happened to you in this book, is any of it autobiographical at all?
It's not autobiographical at all. I have had friends and loved ones who have experienced domestic violence, and this is more physical. It shows how it has come about, transpired from emotional, and it gives the reader kind of an education on how women just don't come in and, the boyfriend or husband doesn't just hit them and they stay. It's a much more gradual process.
I know you mentioned RGH. Are there any other landmarks that, readers will be familiar with while reading the pages?
It was mostly Rochester General. I talked a lot about it was in the winter, so there's a lot of snow, and but that's also symbolic. I chose the winter because it's, a lot of times it's cloudy and it's darker, and this is what the main character Rebecca is feeling. She's feeling down. She's feeling trapped. So
I've heard that talk of maybe people who are either in or have loved ones in the medical community. Now they might have these injuries.
Yes.
And they're afraid of sort of going for help in a community in which they're a part of, which they shouldn't be.
Exactly.
But do you hear that?
Oh, definitely.
And is that a part of this?
That she never seeks help for her injuries, because he never hurts her permanently or breaks bones. He knows how to hurt her without showing. There is one place where people do see some suspicious bruises, and in the story that is pursued to some extent, but a lot of times these women don't or can't seek help, especially if the husband is a doctor.
Exactly. Now think about this. You talked about there's almost like a continuum of abuse. There's the emotional abuse, which is just as bad and can be just as scarring as the physical abuse, which, goodness, we would never want it to escalate to anything fatal. It has in the past. We've seen it in this community.
Yes.
We're no stranger to it.
No.
People tend to think, though, that those pretty facades, the houses, the neighborhoods, mean that those things can't happen here.
Exactly. I used to say that you never know what goes on behind closed doors. You just don't know what's going on. Everything can look wonderful, and in reality, the woman or even man could be being abused, and like you said, emotionally or verbally. She might be isolated. He's manipulating her. He's messing with her mind, called gaslighting. So, and that's just part of it, And then it can gaslighting is...
I've never heard of that.
No, I hadn't either.
Yeah, that's just like psychological abuse, and it can be something where the husband says, I'm going to mow the lawn today, and then later on in the day he doesn't mow the lawn, and then at night she says, well, why didn't you mow the lawn, or something. I never said I was going to mow the lawn, and like makes her, and not just things like that, it could be things in terms of their relationship, where he makes her doubt what she's thinking. I swear he said he was mowing the lawn today, or I swear he said he was going to change or something. And it makes her start to doubt herself. And it just adds to the lower self-esteem that you see.
Wow.
Yeah.
So if there's one message you want to get across to people who are watching or are going to go pick up the book, what would it be, and where can they find this book?
Well, I would say my one message is that if you can help just one woman, you've done your job, which is what I hope the reader will take from this through the education. Also, right now it's available on Amazon and Kindle, and it was just released, so it will be on Nook, iBooks, and Kobo.
That's great, so we can download the book and read it.
Yes, definitely.
All right. I'm going to have to check it out.
And you can find Resolve online.
Exactly, yes. And so they're of Greater Rochester, and they were Safe Journey and Stand Up Guys, which is two wonderful organizations coming together.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I know I noticed you're wearing purple for domestic violence
my
awareness.
color.
Yeah.
Always.
Thank you for sharing your story with us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Congrats
for having
on
me.
your book.
Thank you. Thank you.
We'll be right back. Weather, traffic, and headlines next.